an only child, it's so easy to pretend. But that was just such an exciting time, even though I cried a lot. And finally, at the very end of the year, they noticed, Liz and Alan had noticed that I never talked about my father. And so Alan had decided that it must be because my father is in prison. He's a convict. He must be a murderer. And so Liz finally asked me about my father. And so I think it was the last day of school, we decided that we would tell each other our worst secrets. So we sat on my comforter, which is a rainbow bed. I don't know if you remember those, but it made a rainbow with the pillows and the bedspread. And so she went first, and she told me that her father dropped acid, and she was just mortified. You know, because, you know, her father became a hippie in the 60s. And then, you know, cut to, you know, 2 years later, Liz is taking acid. And so then I told her that my father had died.
What role did your father play in your life?
I adored him. I looked up to him. I just wanted to get to know him. I always thought of him as my prince, and I would spend the whole year waiting to see him, because I could only see him in the summers. I'd go to live with him in the summer. And when Saturday Night Live came out, Chevy Chase kind of looked like my father. And so I had a crush on Chevy Chase, and then I met Chevy Chase. And, you know, I could barely speak. I was going to interview him. And I guess he knew how nervous I was, so he hugged me.
He hugged you?
Yeah.
In what context who were you interviewing him for?
Oh, well, I wanted to be like a broadcast journalist, an interviewer. And so I was, you know, taking some radio class at KCRW. I mean, at Santa Monica College. And it was way before KCRW was KCRW. They were just beginning. And so whoever I really wanted to meet, I would just think, well, I will interview them. Yeah. And it worked.
Who did you get to interview?
Bud Cort, who I was completely in love with, Harold and Maude. Yeah, I was going through a big Harold and Maude phase. So Colin Higgins, who directed it, who was very nice, yeah, and he hooked me up with Bud Cort. Oh, yeah. A guy who won the Student Academy Award for Best Film. And then my interviewing career ended. And then my friend and I, we started sneaking into premieres, Hollywood premieres and Hollywood parties. And it was so easy then, because it was a safe world then.
Where did you get your degree from?
I got my Bachelor of Arts in the last place that I ever thought I would go, Cal State University, Northridge. And I ended up getting my master's, which I never expected to go to grad school at USC.
In what? Master
of Professional Writing.
And your BA?
Film and TV.
How often did you see your father growing up?
Just every summer until he died.
So 3 months or 2 months a summer?
2 months, 7 summers, so not very much.
And did you talk to him every week?
I talked to him on the phone. I don't know if it was every week. And I can remember, you know, asking him, oh, do you want to talk to Mom? And then he'd say yes. And we'd think, oh, they still love each other. And then I'd ask her the same thing. And I didn't know that they just were being, you know, really polite for my sake. But they never said one bad word about each other. But
wow.
Yeah, they got... my mom left when I was 3 and a half.
Oh, and took you with her?
Yeah.
Was there a moment in your life when you realized that your life would be about writing?
Well, it's just really ironic because all through school, I was literally paralyzed whenever I had to write. And it just made me feel so awful, and it would get stuck, and I would just cross out all the ideas that I had, hoping that I'd get a better idea, and then my page would remain blank. I think I told you every Friday we'd have to write a 5-paragraph essay, and literally the teacher just sat there and she didn't help me, and it would just be blank. And so many reports I didn't turn in college, and I don't know if anyone from Northridge is watching, but Mary Newton wrote all my college papers. I did the research, and we did the research together, but I just got so blocked, and I would just get petrified, and then I would eat so many donuts that I thought I would die, and then I couldn't write at all. And it wasn't until I started sitting in on a really brilliant playwriting teacher named Dennis Klontz.
How do you spell Klontz?
C-L-O-N-T-Z. He won the Nichols Screenwriting Award. He had plays produced across the country. And I decided one day that I was going to try the writing assignment that he was giving. There were, it was a theater company, and there were actors and playwrights, and he was leading the playwrights. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to try the exercise. So I tried, and I wrote kind of a half-baked sketch, and I didn't know how to finish it, and I thought, oh well, it's not very good. And I literally was about to just, crinkle it up, put it in the trash, and the whole theater company was in the room, and he made me read what I had. And then he said, oh, well, isn't that interesting? Look at this character, and look at what we're doing here. And so he found something. And so at that moment, I just realized that all you had to do was try. It didn't have to be perfect. And he literally took me under his wing. He changed my life. And, I describe him as my Annie Sullivan, and I'm Helen Keller at the water pump. That he got me to get out what was in here. And I had no idea that I could write. And I started writing. And, meanwhile, I had a horribly traumatic acting experience. I was in a fascist comedy troupe, and they kicked me out, even though they still wanted me to write. And so I thought, I'm never going to get on stage again. And I thought, if I don't do something creative, I'm going to die. And that's when I went to Dennis. And he said, oh, we'd love to have you in our playwriting group go write a play. I had no idea how to write a play. And so I cobbled something together in a week. And then all the actors started coming up to me because they wanted me to write for them. And I was just stunned. And so he just so taught me how to trust my instincts and my impulses. And writing ended up becoming the focus of my life without donuts, which is a miracle. And, I ended up going to grad school. And I never thought I could do that. I mean, that's literally, to me, like, the crippled girl getting to walk. That I got straight A's in grad school, and that I could write, and I didn't freeze. And I was nervous. And I know now, if I meet anybody that doesn't think they can write, I just feel like I'm living proof. And it's just trusting and getting it out. And that also, we're all born storytellers, so that's why I know everyone can write. What we're taught in school makes it really hard about this is right, this is wrong.
What role has binge eating played in your life, if at all?
Why do you ask that?
Well, because you keep talking about eating donuts, like massive quantities, and because someone close to me is going to a binge eating support group, so it's on my mind.
Oh.
You talked about eating massive quantities of donuts, and I was wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I think just in high school, I ate as much as a football player, but I think that was just high school. Yeah. And I don't know if I would qualify it as binge. I mean, it's not like, I ate 10,000 calories.
No, but you're talking about writing kind of for substituting for